Right, chicks. Hey!
We're
Hello, hello, and we are here. We are here for Experience Love Again after the divorce. Today is the event in day 4, and we come in here every day so dedicated. Look at these people. They are just here for you, just to cheer you up and to show you that divorce is not the curse, but just the blessing. And we keep talking about it and saying that, you know what, sometimes it could be lonely, but you don't have to feel alone, because as a community we are here to support and guide you and show you that the life is actually beautiful if you choose to see that. And I'm coming here with my amazing experts, and we are going to continue our conversation. And let's just go around and introduce each other. Nichole, we'll start from you.
Well, hello. Thank you again for having me, my friend. So, I am a fitness coach and I have dedicated myself to helping my clients show my clients that fitness actually starts in the mind. And we all get stuck in these ruts and we all get in these fitness loops of insanity and not know where to start. And I help people get grounded and on track and teach them that everything comes from within. So, a perfect alignment if you are going through a breakup.
Awesome. Yay. Sylvia, how about you?
Yes, so I'm Sylvia Stauffer Neff. I'm a relationship coach and I support men and women to either save the marriage or clear, complete the marriage if it's not working. If it's not a healthy marriage, we need to leave it. But I'm also helping people analyze, is this marriage for me? Or find love. It's all the same. For me, it's all the same process. So I call myself a warrior for marriage or love relationships.
I love it. Awesome. Thank you. Brendaliz. Hello, hello.
So sorry I was late. Oh my goodness.
That's okay. We just started.
So I'm Brendaliz Acosta. I help women in leadership and burnout now and reclaim their career, earn more money, have more energy, and just have better quality life with their families. And I do this through very different types of holistic approaches. And at the end of the day, I'm very passionate about breath and the power of our breath. And that's basically what I'm going to be covering through the through the summit. So yeah, we all can tap into that power.
Absolutely, right? Richard, how about you?
I'm Richard Morden. I'm a post-divorce coach because I really like helping people after the event to understand their journey. I mean, we grew up with, learning all kinds of habits and rules and sort of obligations and doing as not what we consciously believe is, we're not choosing consciously, we're choosing unconsciously from what we grew up with. And we'll often choose the same type of person, the same type of pattern, and sometimes expecting something different. And when it doesn't happen, we realize, how do I change this? So, and my point is helping you see where the unconscious is driving it, changing those attraction factors and consciously choosing something that's more aligned with you. And then that's just by design of your choices and finding what is it you really want, not through obligation, but what's true for you. Thank you.
I love it. Awesome. Bruno, tell a little bit about yourself.
Yes, so my name is Bruno. I am a self-love coach for women. I help women balance their personal life with their professional life without them feeling burned out or feeling guilty, ashamed, or blaming themselves for prioritizing themselves, as it is also a good way of them honoring their ambition and their inner peace. Yes, and that's a little bit about me.
All right, so let's continue our conversation around the event itself. And I know that the interviews are getting more excited and people are reaching out to me. And you know what? It's awesome when we all come together and decide to dedicate ourselves, to dedicate our time, to dedicate our experience, expertise, and just share generously with others and just see what a ripple effect it creates. And when people come back and just say that how grateful they are for the experience, it just, like makes us all feel amazing. And today we were touching something, and Richard said that let's talk a little bit about the topic he wanted to cover. Richard, can you just tell a little bit more about it?
Well, often when we grow up, and again, things don't turn out as we plan, we feel sometimes sort of resigned to our fate. Well, this is just the way it is, and I don't know how to change it because maybe we haven't seen any examples of what it could be like growing up. So it's having those different experiences. And like again, I'm not a widow. I'm not a divorcee. I'm a widow, but all my clients were divorced. But in that space of 4 years between when I met my next partner, I was at a number of events and I saw some people model behavior, not from movie sets, not from most social media, but from just how they interacted. And I really said, that's kind of how I would like to have my interactions. It was supportive. It was patient with each other. I mean, I was at a retreat watching some couples and I thought, wow, these people really know how to be with each other. You know, like just the gentleness. And I thought that's kind of the actions I would like in my next relationship. So sometimes when we haven't seen the models, you have to go outside, you know, where you have been to watch something else. Again, it's not social media people. It's not the people who pretend to be the gurus and all the other stuff. It's the real people that you'll see. Maybe people you work with that have some really good relationships, you know, and and kind of watch them and ask them questions, you know, and many of them will tell you it took some work. You know, like when I share the love languages, they're a nice framework, but if you don't understand how they work and how to work with them, it's just something on paper. So to engage in those aspects of that, all of it's there when you learn how to work with it and interpret your aspect in the sense of asking or acquiring something more of yourself and your partner. It's being able to be accountable for that.
I love what you shared, because, you know, as you are talking, what comes to me is like nobody really told us that relationship is a work, right? We were just, you know, like getting into relationship thinking it's just fun and exciting, right? Yeah, exactly. We only knew that the work is when we go and earn money. Everything else should be just easy peasy, right? And then you get into the relationship, and especially when it's like marriage, right? A lot of commitment is required and everything. Now we realize, like, you know, like we just do not feel ourselves. And the worst part is that we a lot of times don't even turn for help, because that was nothing that we were taught to do, right? We were taught like, okay, I can do it on my own. I don't have to ask anybody for the advice. And then again, who are you going to ask advice for? A lot of times people are also dealing with the same struggles. They also have the same mindset, and they do not really understand where the, you know, the core of the issue arises from. And the point is that everybody gets together at these parties, everybody pretends that everything is great, everybody's happy, right? And you do not want to be somebody like, you know, just like somebody outsider, and that people are look at you like you are strange, right? And that's why this is exactly why we are having these events, because these events are showing up that, okay, let's just, you know, turn everything up, you know, like from the inside out, and let's just have that naked truth. Let's just talk about the issues that everybody goes through, because as long as we are breathing, there is something to work on. And relationship requires as much work as our job or anything else that we are doing, right? Everything,
Absolutely.
if you really want to have some results, you do have to put the work. And that's exactly why we have these events, and why we bring that awareness through our interviews, through our guidance. And that's really important. Nichole, what do you think about it?
Well, something you said earlier on was the choice. And, you know, it's really important to understand that we do have a choice. And personally, I feel that it's always best to work on your marriage. If there's any light and any hope and any possibility of making it right, 100%, that's the best option. But just like Sylvia said, sometimes it's not great for our mental health, and sometimes we do have to step aside. In that case, then you really need to remember that you aren't a victim to your circumstance, and there is an answer, and you're not alone. And that is one thing that I work with my clients on, is to show them and prove to them that we all go through something. We all have different obstacles and different, you know, challenges and roadblocks, and working with somebody through this, it just makes it so much easier. And the second thing that came to mind was the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset.
Mhm.
So self-limiting beliefs. Have you decided already that relationships are just out the window? This one didn't work out, so that's it. I'm not going to try again. Or are you open to the possibility of finding love? Because if you're not open to the possibility, of bettering yourself, because I don't care what any relationship says, it's 50-50. It takes two people. All it's not just one-sided. So
Exactly.
do you have that fixed mindset, or have you decided that you're not going to have a good relationship? Have you decided that it's not for you? Or have you made the decision to have a growth mindset and decide and make the choice to better yourself so that you will find love? And I think things like this, summits like this, are incredible for that. You have all these different perspectives of all these different experts in the industry that have talked to thousands of people amongst all of us we have. And it's a great way to really bring it together. And like I said at the beginning, prove that you're not alone.
I love it. That's awesome. Sylvia, do you have anything to add to our conversation?
Yeah, what I was thinking, we are here in America in a modern society, and we have the tools available, the help. And I was just thinking, I grew up in a society where you did not find help. It was not proper.
Yeah.
And so there are many countries where help is either not available or you just have to suffer. That's one thing. And in my case, Richard, you mentioned that you need a role model. I had a really amazing role model in my parents. We didn't have much. We were lower middle class, but my parents were so loving and caring with each other. And so I entered a marriage expecting that. I had no clue that it could be different, or that maybe it was not going to be like my parents. And so this is why I'm teaching skills today. We're lacking relationship skills. And they're available today through the internet all over the world. Right.
Awesome. Beautiful, beautiful. Brendaliz, what would you like to add to that?
I feel like most of what I would have said, it's been said, but what I could say is I have not experienced divorce myself from my partner. I've been married for 25 years. However, I did experience the pain as a child of my parents being divorced, and I was an adult at that time. And I was in the middle of the divorce from I was the one, like, being the one trying to keep the waters under control on both sides. And it was very difficult for me as an adult kid. I was 22, 23 at that time. Yeah, I was an adult kid. And what I can say is that we don't, like a lot of people have said here, we don't need to go through this journey alone. And I think most of my life, I tried to do things by myself, and I tried to deal with everything by myself. And when I realized now as a bigger adult, is that it's so much the power of community, the power of support is so big. And as it relates to healing, even me as someone who was not the one getting divorced, there was so much healing that I needed to happen because of that. And the group of people who are supporting this initiative are people who have so much background in different areas that at the end they all will support your journey, either as someone who is experiencing divorce or someone who maybe like me is on the sidelines but experiencing the pain of divorce. It doesn't matter. At the end, the tools are there, and what you will learn is incredible. I've been going through all of the materials, and it's kind of pretty cool to see it unfold.
Pretty cool. Yes, I love it. Like I mentioned before, that I enjoy each interview because there was something for me to learn, and it was like so much fun. And the free gifts, like you can't just, like ask for more. Richard, how about you?
Well, I look at trying to establish what I call we all know the 4 stages of competence, and in that framework, I'm thinking of it's from birth to death. We're in one of those 4 stages in many aspects of our life, and relationships are key to that. That when we're going through these change points, we can either resist them or find ways to resource them, because every relationship goes through its cycles too, right? And in sense of when in one sense, we've never had more access to information, yet we've never been more cocooned by it, because as Sylvia said, there's so much of it, we don't know where to look at. So I look at these 4 stages as just a sort of a roadmap for us in our finances, in our relationships, in our communication styles. And if we can understand that a little bit, we look at where do I need some resources? What am I looking at? And sometimes it's understanding our triggers. I mean, a lot of triggers we inherited, through families and stuff like that. And if somebody's been through a relationship, there's all kinds of triggers, like hand motions, the way our tonality of our voice. So understanding our triggers is a big part of this, what really, and not even knowing why we react to something. So if we can see those sometimes and how our new partner responds to them or is reacting, then we can say, okay, what do I need to do here that allows us some space, and I'm not initiating something unconsciously that's detrimental to both of us. And I think that takes communication, that takes understanding, and I almost want to give each other quizzes now. What really pisses you off?
Right, exactly. I mean, it's, what, when we talk about it, I think emotional control is the number one thing, because how easy it is for us to just lose it and then feel anxious, feel stressed, right? Especially in the situation like that. And the most important thing is just to always come back to ourselves, always come back to that peace, right? And that's why it's so important to come to the event like that, because you are going to have the tools how to actually balance yourself, right? And there are plenty of different tools, and each expert shares plenty. So we all can actually control how we feel and how we respond, rather than just, taking everything from the outside, taking everybody's words or everybody's actions or, like any circumstances, right? So rather than being the victim, we become the hero. Bruno, what do you want to say about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I loved what people shared here. First of all, like Brendaliz, I also haven't experienced, because I'm not only way younger, but I've also been on the sidelines experiencing it because my parents also got divorced. Yeah, and also about the emotional control, absolutely understand. I think that people who do know me know that I'm not a little feather in the wind. I can really turn it up. It's not very pretty, especially when I turn it up. But anyways, um, I figure that I'll touch a little bit on everybody's points, because usually when I come into the lives, I just basically say exactly what Brendaliz said. It's but I say more show up for your kids, right? And it's true though. It's exactly the same thing that Brendaliz said, but in my case is show up for your kids, right? Because the reality is this: your kids are looking at you, right? They're looking at you, they're looking at mommy, experiences love this way. What, maybe this is the way, and it is not. Daddy does it this way. Maybe it is. It is not, right? And so giving you're not gonna be perfect, right? But you can also do something good if you're not following a good system, right? So there's no reason for you to gamble your next step when you can just simply join for free and know what to do next. Or if that is not your next step, what to do in a certain situation where you have the tips right here, right now, for not only us, but also the other 20 plus speakers, right? Including us, obviously, right? And that is very important, right? And I want to touch on one more thing, because usually I talk too much and then there's no time. Just one more thing. People often, right? People often take for granted the possibilities of learning. What we give you, you don't even have to try and like be like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna win. You're gonna win. There's 28, like there's 20 plus speakers here who are telling you their experience for you to not do it again. It's like you have the answer. You just have to sign up and then make it happen. That's it. You don't even have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to figure it out by yourself. We already have the answers for you. Right?
Good point.
And that's I mean, first of all, that's kind of what a coach does. First of all, right? But at the same time, that's why coaching is so important as well, right? Because think about it. Forget about the money. You're working with somebody not only for the better good of your health, of your body, of your soul, of your spirit, of your mind, right? But 50% of the work is already done, right? And what we are doing here right now, it's basically coaching, even if not on the live itself, but on the actual interviews. That's basically what we're doing, and we're like saying the tips for you to not go out into the world without knowing what you're doing in the first place, right? And so this is like, I think like this is like 2-3 big reasons that I just said, like for people to literally sign up, and they're not that, I wouldn't say that hard to understand or comprehend. I'd say they're not hard to digest, right? They're not hard to digest. They're not hard to. There's nothing to think about. Just join, because it's not live. You have the recordings being sent to you. You have a whole day to listen to it. You don't even have to watch the video. You can just put on the audio and listen to it in the car, right? If you're going to your job, or you can, or when you're coming back from home, right? You can work out and listen to it. You can make your coffee and listen to it. You can, I don't know, like before you go to bed, you can listen to it, right? If you really want it, you will make the time, because it's 30 minutes. And majority of people take longer than that to get to work anyways, because of the traffics, right? So Brendaliz is shaking her head like, no.
1 minute.
Someone
just
works from
kidding.
home.
But anyways, that was me. So thank you.
That was really good. But what I was also wanted to add, like as Richard, we were sharing with Richard on the interview when we were talking about self-care, right? So people are not used to understand what self-care is all about, and we always try to take care of everybody else, and we are putting ourselves the last. But now understanding, especially if you are right now in this situation, right? If you are navigating it by yourself, you gotta fill your cup first before you can take care of everybody else, right? So just think about it. And I know that we are always busy, and that busyness doesn't go away. So basically we do have to find the time for ourselves, because if we are not going to do it, nobody's going to do it for ourselves, right? So that's exactly why we come back to the point that it's very important to put aside some time for yourself, even if it's an hour a day. But just know that you do require to relax. You do require just have that time for yourself. And one of that particular things that you can do for yourself is just listening and tuning into these interviews, and you'll see how it's going to shift your energy. You'll see how you're going to feel better, understanding that you are not alone on this journey. And it's great that you have that support. It's great that you have that community, and people are there for you. They are accepting you. They are loving you for who you are, right? So you do not have to be perfect. Just make an effort. And if you can't even listen to everyday interview, if you listen even to half of the interviews, it's going to give you a lot of help. And you'll see that during these kind of events, people do get the breakthroughs. And that's what these events are for. Anybody else wants to add to wrap it up?
I want to add a couple of things. So one is that if not now, when? Like
Mhm.
we always stay in the loop of thinking, oh no, later. Like if you're not doing it now, you're probably not going to do it later. The other
Mhm.
thing I wanted to add is I don't believe in coincidences. So if anybody's listening to this audio here right now, it's because the message that we're delivering was meant for you. And sometimes we don't know exactly what we need until we approach the learning. So many times, and I'm a person of faith. I When I ask and it's given, I believe in that, right? So I literally, when I don't know the answer, I ask for it. Just guide me, show me the way. And a lot of times we pray for the answer to be in front of us, and when the answer is in front of us, we just ignore it. So if you're seeing this message, it's not a coincidence. It's because probably the answer the question you've been asking all along, the answer is probably within the 28 people that you're going to be learning from.
That's brilliant, Brendaliz. You
Awesome.
said something that just reminded me of something that I actually wrote in the book that I just wrote. That a lot of the times we head a certain direction in life. Let's say we're heading east, and we're praying, God, why aren't you letting this happen? Why aren't we doing this? And then we realize that all we needed to do was head west. So the opposite direction. So sometimes in life things don't work out because they weren't meant to, and sometimes in life we don't acknowledge the signs. And just like you said, nothing's a coincidence. Another thing that you said, Irina, that really hit home for me was emotional intelligence. And I personally feel, and I'm not saying that everyone on here might agree with me, but a big problem with with relationships breaking up is communication. And a big part of a lack of communication is not having the ability to self-regulate and being with a spouse that doesn't have a certain level of emotional intelligence. So at that point, it's what are you doing for yourself so that you can get yourself back on track so that doesn't happen again. And part of that of, having the ability to self-regulate your emotions, especially after a breakup when I'm sure the emotions are high, it's very important to learn tools and strategies and techniques. And just like Sylvia, you said, there's so much information out there, and to have somewhere where you can have it all summarized and have the answers that you need in one place. And especially Irina, with you, they can send you emails. They can ask you, hey, this is the specific topic I need help with. And you can say, this is the specific expert that you need to listen to. And if that expert has already been on, take the VIP option, because it's amazing to have those to re-listen to. The second thing is triggers, understanding your triggers. Richard, I think you mentioned this. It's very important at the end of the day, if we've gone through a nasty breakup, is to understand what sets us off. And even with my fitness, I just started doing this, to be honest with you. When I first onboard a new client, I don't even talk about their fitness. I talk about personal struggles. I talk about triggers. I talk about self-esteem. What brought them down? Were you abused? Were you bullied? What are these things that might have happened to you that caused you on the path that you're on now, and the end of the road for your marriage? And maybe to take something more personal might not be the answer, but to look at it from an outside perspective, which is you're going to be able to do with all these experts, is the answer.
I'd love to say something. See, it's like I saw this post. It wasn't a download that I had. It was actually a post that I saw. It made a lot of sense because when I looked back into my life, I'd actually realized it's true. So I follow these spiritual pages online on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. And so this post, it was a photo, and it said, "You have everything you need. Use what I gave you." The universe. So the universe basically. So on the post, right, the universe is saying, use what I gave you. You have everything you need, or the other way around, whatever. When I look back into my life, it makes so much sense. It literally makes so much sense. For example, the way I met Irina. For example, I met Irina through Instagram, but apparently we were already following each other 8 months before that.
Huh.
Right? That's one example. a lot of the friends I met, my people that I became very good friends with, I was already friends with them before as well. Like, I mean, we were already following each other, right? um so like so many things, like that's just an example, right? But like so many things. And this is why I believe, it's like, for example, Brendaliz was saying, I believe that, if you don't know, you should ask for guidance, right? Maybe to the angels, maybe to the archangels, whoever you like to ask to, right? uh, I believe that, like, everything is happening now, right? um and that, it's like every single reality is happening now. Every single thing is happening right now, right? Like every single thing is happening right now. And whatever version of you that exists that you want to manifest, this is more with Irene, right? But like whatever version of you that you really want to become, like you are it now in some reality. Like in some infinite reality, you are that, right? But it's it's the person you have to become. Like if you want to make $1 million, or in this case, like if you want to have the most beautiful marriage ever, right? You cannot be somebody who does not reflect that. You have to become, right? Or you can put in your list of possibilities to become, right? That type of person, right? If you really want it bad enough, if your goal is to have a thriving, amazing marriage, you have to become a reflection of somebody who wouldn't give up on their marriage, who would do everything to keep their marriage, not out of need, but out of love, right? um and so, yeah, I fully agree. I mean, it's like, everything that we need, we already have it. We just have to be creative enough to make it work, right? And we have to be aware enough of our resources, right? Because that's just the most important thing.
Awesome. So, like I said, if anybody's watching, thanks for tuning in, and we are open for the questions. Don't be the stranger. Just, if something pops up, let's just, like put it in the comments, and we'll get back to you with the answers. And continue watching the series. If you haven't registered yet and you are tuning into this episode, there is never a late time. The time is now, as Brendaliz said. So that is your message. That was the time when you just have to tune in and register and watch all these amazing experts with their interviews, with their wisdom, with all the tips that they're sharing. Because remember, it's we always can become better. We always can regulate our emotions better, as long as we are aware and we have the proper tools and the proper support. So lots of love and light to everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in, and see you tomorrow on the other episode. Tune in. Bye. Tomorrow it's at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye.
Bye, guys.